And the nice thing about making a play, or in this case, making it into a movie, is you can go to different places around town. You have your
Really?
scenery. We got permission to go into a real hospital, you know.
Oh.
We performed out on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
with with the gang. We went into a church where the minister's like, "Oh, the Lord will have a call to the altar."
Mm.
Jesse gets up and starts walking down. He goes, "Excuse me, sir, we'll do that later." So no, no, but I thought you mentioned my name. I thought you wanted me here. And he freezes
Oh.
the guy, gives a little sermon to the people. And then and near the end of the show, now how am I going to end this? Well, there was a street preacher who
Mm.
didn't believe that Jesse could be the second coming because
Mm.
there were no angels. He didn't come out of the sky on the clouds the way he expected it to happen.
Just like in the
And
Bible says, yeah?
that's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Mm.
He said, "Well, a kid asked me to come. I couldn't turn him down, you know." And later on in the show, the that preacher comes back with a gun, tries to shoot Jesse, but the drunken guy jumps in front of the bullet, takes the bullet for Jesse. Jesse
Oh,
heals him, takes the bullet out, and he's okay. And they sing us, a song, a musical number, and that's the end of One More Time. It was really fun to do for me because I got to play the part of Jesus. Wouldn't
Jesus.
you like to be Jesus if you could, Francis? Huh? So,
So this one more time, is it related to the Jesse, son of God?
well, I use that name Jesse in the book I wrote, Jesse, son of God.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
I
I
see.
use the name, right? And
Oh,
in that book, it's sort of autobiographical. I took things in my life that really happened. The story is framed on the story of Job. Now, I don't
mm-hmm.
know if you remember Job. He's a very prosperous guy, doing really well. But the devil comes to God and says, he loves you because you've been so good to him. Let me mess with him, see if he still loves you.
Mm.
Okay, I'll take that bet. You should never bet with God. He knows what's going to happen. Anyway,
For
so
sure, for sure.
the devil takes everything away from Job, but he doesn't curse God. He still loves God. And
Mm.
in the story, Jesse, son of God, the devil comes back. He says, Lord, I got another bet for you. Jesus loved you because what he knew he was your son. His mother told him, and his aunt she said, yes, you're the chosen one. So of course he's going to love you. But if you have another kid and you don't tell him he's your son, I bet he wouldn't find you with a map. God says, I'll take that bet. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why when Jesse is born and grows up, his family, they know that because God says, can I at least tell his folks? Yeah, but they can't
Okay.
tell him and they can't tell anyone else. She said, do you notice anything? Is he different from other kids? Said, no, he's just a regular old boy, you know?
Mm.
So one of the things he did when he was getting older, which is one of the things I did, is there was a field. You know how when they harvest the field, there's just this dry chaff and stuff left on the ground.
You
It's
mean like cornfield
or wheat.
or wheat field? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's flammable. And we were having fun. We would take a
Yes.
match and throw it down on the ground. It would start to burn, and then we'd stomp it out
No,
and
you
dry it
did not.
again.
No, you
We
did not.
did. We
It's
did.
yeah,
Well,
I guess it's a fire hazard, and so I'm not so sure if that's a good thing to do.
no, it was not because the fire started to get too big. And I go, oh, we can't put it out. What are we going to do? The wind's blowing. Oh my God, it could blow toward town. It could burn down the whole town. So we run down the hill. There's a mud puddle there. And we take off our shirts and soak it in the mud and the water and go back up and beat that flame out. And we come home. I'm wearing that shirt and it's all black and dirty,
Hmm.
covered with ash and stuff. And my mother took one look at me. She goes, I don't want to know. Just go inside, take that off, clean yourself up, get a shower, okay? We'll talk about this later.
Mm,
So, I made some mistakes. Um, One time I was involved with our church youth group. They
mm-hmm,
call the Methodist Youth Fellowship.
mm-hmm.
And one time my mother had come down. She picked me up a little early. I said, I don't want to go home now. No, Rod, come on, we gotta go. Okay. So I get back home and I figure, well, I can call my friends up. I know their number
Mm.
down at the church. So I call them up. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking like, well, it is April Fool's Day. Maybe I could fool them a little bit. So when they answered, hello, Methodist Youth Fellowship, I said, get out of the building. There's a bomb.
Oh dear
And then
Lord.
just as I'm about to say,
Oh
"Hi,
no.
April Fools," they hung up. Oh my God. They hung up. Well, I'll call them back. And I call back right away. They don't answer. Nobody answers. Oh my God. What am I going to do? And then I hear the sirens going off in my town.
Oh.
Uh-oh. So I kept calling the church back. Finally, the minister answers, this is Reverend Thurston here. Yes, this is Rod. I want to let you know. I was playing a practical joke on my friends, and I told them there was a bomb in the church, and there isn't one. I was just
Oh no.
joking, and then I thought I was going to tell him it was me, but they hung up, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He goes, well, the police chief is here, and he would like you to come down to the station so he can have a talk with you. Okay. All right, Reverend. I'll go. I'll get there. I'll have my folks take me down because I couldn't drive at that age. And I go downstairs. Mom and Dad are watching TV. I said, "Mom, Dad, could you do me a favor? Can you take
Drive
me
me.
down to the police station?"
Oh
And
no.
they said, "Rod, what have you done now?" I says, "I'll tell you on the way. Come on down." So I get taken down. He's like, you know,
Mm.
you caused a lot of trouble. I had to call the fire department, and people had to
Mm.
search the church. It was a big hassle on our evening. You put us through. You're lucky I don't throw you in jail. You can't get in any more trouble this whole summer. I said, yeah, but I called him back, right? I admitted I did it. I didn't, I was trying to make it right. And he said, okay,
Right.
well, no more trouble out of you, young man. So that's in the story too. I mean, these
Oh,
things really, they happened. They really happened.
it sounds to me that you had a wonderful childhood. Like you had so much play in it. You had so much fun. And
Oh yeah.
and it feels that was there any connection between your childhood, your being playful to the to now you do have your improvisational theater company. What was the role of this, and say what were some of the biggest challenges and victories from terse words into them being personalized on stage, put into life and soul. People could see it, people could feel it. The victories and challenges of just bringing that vision of a theater company from being a child and a kid to now being the visionary of this. And could you share us
Well,
some thought?
yeah, I loved acting, I was hooked on it, and I would try out for plays and be in some things. And at one point, I met a gentleman from Australia who was
Mhm.
into improvisational theater. And that's
Wow.
where you, as the actors, make it up. The audience will give you suggestions and you make up the dialogue. And I said, no, I like that. There's a challenge. You don't have to wait, you don't have to
Mhm.
memorize anything, you know? And he said, yeah, I want you to start your own company. And when I come back to visit, I can have some people to play with. I said, oh,
Mm.
okay, sounds cool. And so I just put in an announcement at one of our local community theaters that we were going to start an improvisational theater company called
Mhm.
HITCO,
It's
HITCO,
CEO.
Honolulu Improvisational Theater Company.
Ah.
So I got a bunch of people, maybe 20 people, and some people I knew from plays and things I'd been in before who liked acting. Got them together. So let's try this out. And I don't know how I got it, but there was a guide to improv games that you can do. I think it was from a group in Canada, and we started
Mm,
with that, and then we made up some of our own things. Sometimes we would do a scene, that we planned, but most of the time it was stuff that was made up. And
mm.
we did it at the theater a couple of times. We had performances there, and then we went to the military bases where
Ah,
sometimes we could be performing in a bowling alley or a movie theater or whatever on the place. That was fun working with them. So,
mm.
and I did that for quite a while. Finally, I lost interest, and I did go down and visit the gentleman in Australia.
Australia?
In
Ah.
Yeah, my wife and I. He had a farm there. He said, "Come on, we're gonna go ride horses." Okay, and we're cruising through the countryside, and my wife's going, "I'm bouncing up and down. Oh, my butt is so sore." Sorry, dear.
That sounds fun. That sounds so
Yes,
fun. Where is this? In Adelaide, in Brisbane, in Countryside, you're saying?
down below Sydney, between Sydney and Melbourne.
Oh,
I'm not
Canberra?
forget. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the name to tell you the truth, but it was fun. I remember going into the ocean and scraping opihi, not opihi, but what's the one that's so big and really tough? That seashell,
Oh, it's a
sea
seashell.
stuff.
Oh, okay. Like a sconge, like a sconge.
Yeah, abalone.
An abalone.
Abalone.
Oh, okay, an abalone.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Now that's a tough thing. You have to beat that meat with a hammer
That's
to
for
get
sure.
it soft enough to eat.
Yes.
But I remember we
Wow.
took that to a Barbie. They were having shrimp on the Barbie day. And we showed up with abalone. That was cool.
Wow. So, um, because you do
There you go.
improvs,
Yes.
but what though is the reaction of the audience? Any challenge of that? Because they need to be drawn into it. Their emotions have to be captured, and they need to feel that they are part of the play. They're part of the story. For sure, there are challenges there. And how were you able to overcome these, if there were any?
Well, our focus was comedy. We wanted it to
Mm.
be fun. So
Okay.
it didn't have a lot of heavy duty scenes. We
Uh,
did do Murder in a Minute, but it wasn't, a
like
terrible thing because the person would be murdered with something unusual, like spaghetti, you know. So we had, and one of us would be like, have to go into the cone of silence. That's where you put your hands over your ears and hum while they make up what's going to happen in this scene. Who's going to get killed? What are they going to get killed with? And where will it take place? And then when the
uh,
scene is over, you have to answer those three clues and see if you get it right. So that's one of
uh,
the things that we played. Um, it was just a lot of fun. And sometimes we try to get the people involved. Come on up, try this with us.
right, right.
Or we show them, here's a typical warm up we do. Make up a name for myself, and I introduce myself to you. Then you have to make up a name for yourself. I'm Professor Fluffbottom of the University of Wallamaloo. And I'm Sally Struthers, and I'm a nurse who likes to um, play with the children, or whatever, right? They get a
Right.
chance to be in the show.
Ah,
So it was a good time that I had. Didn't do it forever. You got to go on to something else ever then.
mm,
Um, I was talking about the plays too. I
mm.
told you about One More Time
One more
and
time you did, yes.
Love Hurts But Murder Kills.
Mm.
Um, there was one called Free Dumb, D-U-M-B,
Free,
and I said Free Dumb, because and I
oh,
said
freedom.
I called it that because we have done some dumb things as a country. For example, who made the first atomic bombs? We did. But we didn't use them right. Oh no, we used them. Well, just once, right? No, twice.
Why?
And then And then we would you have to see if they work. So we went down to Bikini Atoll and blew up a whole island. What we didn't realize was the wind was blowing toward a group of people on another island, and we made them
Mm,
all sick. In fact,
right.
to this day, the people from Rongelap can come to the island of Hawaii and get free health care because we gave them cancer, you know. So, but a
Oh.
lot of these things people don't know about, right? They may not
Mm.
be acquainted with that. Like, did you know that there was a group of military men in World War II who had syphilis? And they said, we want you to participate in a health study with us. We'll take care of you. Um, and there was it happened to be a bunch of Black American soldiers who had contracted syphilis, and
Oh.
they they gave them different kinds of medicine, but not a medicine to cure them. They wanted to see what happens as the disease progresses, and it's an actual story. There was a documentary made about them. So in the play that I did, there's a school teacher who invites me to come and talk to them because I
Mm-hmm.
worked for I think it was the CIA, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew some of these things. And I said, "Are you sure you want me to tell the kids this? Well,
Mm-hmm.
they need to know, you know." And that so
Mm.
you gotta write what matters to you. What do you want people to
Right.
know? You know,
Exactly.
that's why I wrote about Jesus, because like you, I say hi to him every night, if not more often during the day, you know. Oh, and remember the movie Star Wars when that came
Oh,
out,
okay.
right?
Which one?
Well, I knew that I was the first when the first one came out. I'm going like, Star Wars? Oh no, there shouldn't be wars out in space. Surely by the time we have the knowledge to travel among the stars, we're not going to be blowing each other up. So
I'm not so sure about that.
I wrote a children's show about it. And you know how they had, what was it? Luke Skywalker, right?
Luke
Was the
Skywalker,
hero,
yeah. Yeah.
right? My hero in the play was Flash Skyskipper. And he had to try to deal with some villains called the negatoids. The negatoids are into negativity, hatred, and violence. And they were spreading this
Megaploids.
among the Federation of Planets, you know. And he tries to stop them, you know, and he finally learns that what don't negatoids like? Love. And they
Mm.
said, "Ooh, don't even say that word. It hurts our ears." Oh, but we would love for you to join us, become part of the Federation, you know. So he basically he won him over with love.
Oh.
So, you know, I'm trying to say something that matters to me and teach it to the kids too, you know. So that was a lot of fun. And I had my friend who was blind. She goes, "I don't get to be in many plays." I said, "Well, you can be in I called it star pieces. Now you can be in star pieces." So I would stand behind her, have her put her hands on mine, and show, "Okay, we're going to move like this. This is our dance moves, you know."
Mm.
And she said, "Oh, could my mom be in this? She's a senior citizen, and hard for her to find roles in plays." That's too sure. Bring her along, you know. So we had young kids and a blind person and a senior citizen together. It was fun. I hope the kids
Mm.
had a good time.
It
Okay.
seems that
Well,
we're very excited about this, and so probably you two are, which leads me to my next question would be,
yeah.
I'm so excited about your music. I'm so
Okay.
excited about what you do in music. Do you view it as an extension of the plays or your storytelling? We're very curious about this music that you have. Oh,
Well, as a teacher, I taught drama, right?
uh-huh.
And I would write these plays for the kids, and I would usually make turn them into a musical because I had all
Oh.
these songs that I wrote, you
Mm,
know. When here in Hawaii was the first time that I met a group of people who were willing to collaborate, you know, come
mm-hmm.
over to the house and play with me and jam, and we'd make up some songs, you know. Um, I had one guy from Turkey, Barbarossa, and
Barbarossa.
he was Barbarossa. He was great, man.
Okay.
He's saying, Ringo Starr, right? I heard him talking on a show one time. He talked about rock and roll. Some people like rocking. Some people like rolling all
Oh,
night, all over the floor. All right, all over the floor, all night. And so we turned that into a song. That was fun. And
oh, okay.
I met a guy from Brazil, Antonio
Mhm.
Azevedo, and he liked to play electric guitar. So
Mhm.
he'd come up with some music for me, and I was more of the lyricist. So every
Uh,
now and then I'd come in. Now, why did I get involved in music to begin with? We're talking 1960, I think it was 63 or
mhm.
65. Who came to the Ed Sullivan Show? You, I know you're kind of young. You may not know the answer to this. What
65.
British band came to
Oh,
America?
I could only think of the
Oh,
Beatles.
that's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are four of the nicest youngsters we've ever had on our stage. The Beatles, bring them on!
That's right. We were all in love with the Beatles. So I
Mhm.
asked my folks, can I have a guitar? They got me a cool little electric guitar and an amplifier. I started to learn chords and stuff. Even got an acoustic guitar, which I think I like better.
Oh.
And started writing songs.
Stay tuned for the next episode.